hosting LeBron. King James and the Heat make their first Garden appearance since putting together the Big Three. Of course, it's LeBron's first appearance since he spurned the Knicks to take his talents to South Beach. Should be a good matchup as the Knicks just had their 8-game winning streak stopped, while the Heat have won 10 in a row. We know the reaction for LeBron. Well, I'm guessing it'll be rough. If it is, does he deserve that kind of reaction?
Yeah, why not? Of course. Well, of course he deserves it. He didn't want to come to New York. He couldn't handle the pressure. You know, beat him up big time. I'm telling you, here's the chant. We don't need you.
But now you're right. But if we don't need him, why are we going to be rough on him?
Why not? Because he didn't want to come here. He doesn't like our city. He's got to go there and be a second
don't get rough on me.
He's got to be a second fiddle to Dwayne Wade, you know, instead of assuming the pressure like Amari Stoudemire has done and embracing the city and, you know, saying, hey, come on my shoulders and here we go. So why should we be good?
Hey, you know what? You pay your money, you can do whatever you want within reason. But you know what? This idea that he deserves it is baloney. You know why? He did what he wanted to do.
Deserves it.
He came. He didn't want to come here. He
Did he have to make a dog and pony show out of it?
Yeah, but so what? You know, if the media bought into that dog and pony show, and ESPN made out like a bandit on it.
Oh yeah, well, TV always does, doesn't it? But hey, look, he did. He chose that route. He's got to pay for it. I mean, really, he knows what he's going to get. And I don't think he knew what he was getting into, because you heard the comments afterwards basically saying he regrets doing that show more than anything else. So he's going to hear. I hope New York fans are creative, not more than just the booing. And you know, because even Cleveland fans got a little creative. So,
well,
but you know what I want to see? I want to see just the Knicks. Don't let their bench be laughing it up with LeBron down the end like Cleveland bench was when they showed it.
By the way, they will be. They'll be hugging him. I guarantee that. And by the way, watch out. You reap what you sow. You might just motivate this guy to go for over 50 tonight.
Well, but you know, at the same time, I just think this. I think if the Knicks were in bad shape, I think the reaction would be worse. Yeah. Don't you? If the Knicks were struggling, I think the reaction would be worse.
You're probably right. You know, if this was, you know, like it's been the last 10 years, it probably would be a lot worse than it is.
Yeah, because I think people are going to be into the game. In Cleveland,
right.
Every time he got the ball, they booed. I don't think once the game starts, I don't think people are going to.
Why waste your energy booing? I mean, after you cheered on.
No, but Cleveland lost by 30 too. The Knicks that won't happen tonight.
Oh yeah, you could guarantee that.
Oh, listen to this. 30? Listen to the hatred coming out of Bob.
Hatred, reality.
Yes.
Reality.
Let's get to our next daily headline.
Yeah, reality.
Reality. Credit to the team, will you?
We're going to give the credit to the team right now in our next daily headline. Are the Knicks better off without LeBron and with Amari Stoudemire? For a host of reasons here, obviously. LeBron showing that he needed other stars to take the heat off of him, no pun intended. Amari saying, as you mentioned, he's ready for the New York spotlight and ready to be the guy. With all of that going on, are the Knicks better off with Amari than LeBron?
It's still hard to say that. But I mean, think about it, though. That question would have been laughable a year ago, and now you really got to think about it.
Laughable 2 months ago.
Well, yeah. I mean, Amari's played a lot better than I thought he would. He's showing you he can score from inside, outside. He doesn't need Steve Nash to set him up, and he's playing some defense. He's blocking shots, and yeah, LeBron. We don't know after his performance in the playoffs last year. It doesn't look like he's a guy that handles the pressure that well.
Yeah, but aren't we getting ahead of ourselves here? I mean, it's only December. You know, when the Heat started out losing, everybody said, "Oh, they're not going anywhere." Then they rail off this winning streak. You know, let's see how this thing plays out. These guys have to get used to playing with each other. Amari's more of a one-man band.
Well, again, Amari has showed you, though, that he, as I just said, that he has embraced the fact he wanted to be the man here. He wanted to be on the big stage in New York. There's no question about it. And so far, he's delivered.
Well, that's the point, Bob. I mean, I hear your point on it's only December, and no one's saying Amari Stoudemire is a better player than LeBron James. But the fact that he was willing to embrace the fact that he was going to be the guy here, doesn't that make him a better fit than LeBron?
Well, you know something, Jonas? He had 100 million reasons to embrace that fact. But wait a minute.
LeBron could have had those too.
But wait a minute. I will say this about him, and I've said it before. He is a leader, and that goes a long way to galvanizing this team, to let make other players rise to a different level.
But that's the point. He wasn't a leader in Phoenix. The coaching staff, D'Antoni, part of it, really didn't think much of him. They thought he had a poor work ethic. So he has changed his ways, and he has embraced this New York stage, which not a lot of guys are willing to do, no matter how much money they get. But I also
think he sees this as an opportunity on and off the court in a variety of ways. You know, if he can take over, if he can make this team rise, he is the man.
But don't you agree? LeBron is the only superstar I've ever seen shrink from the spotlight to that that degree to where he didn't want to be the guy.
Well, that's, look, the fact that he went to a team that had Dwayne Wade's team where they had already won a championship, Dwayne Wade had already, and the fact that he wanted to be part of that instead of being the man. I mean, that's
there's all. I hate to burst your bubble, but there's also the fact.
You've been bursting my bubble on the Knicks all season, Bob.
But let me finish. He might not have wanted to come to this organization, which, let's face it, up to still was perceived as a disorganization.
But don't forget, he could have come after Amari was signed, right? So there could have been the two of them together.
That's right,
if he
could
wanted
have.
to.
That is true.
So I think he took the easy way out because he saw more championship potential there.
That's true, but he also might have seen the chaos that was going on.
Well, then he could have gone to Chicago or a host of other places.
Well, you were talking here.
No, but I'm just saying he didn't want to be the guy. Let's get to our next daily headline, which is the Knicks Heat rivalry back? All right, I know Jeff Van Gundy isn't clinging to Alonzo Mourning's
It's great to see those clips on TV again.
Love it, don't you? And you don't have, Allen Houston sinking that shot. All these things of this great rivalry that once was Charlie Ward and P.J. Brown.
That's great memory.
That's not a good memory, but it's a good memory of a rivalry anyway.
Right.
Knicks haven't had any rivalries with anybody for 10 years because they've been terrible. Bob, is the Heat-Knicks rivalry now back?
Not yet. We have to see how this thing plays out. It takes a little while to percolate, to get a rivalry going.
Talking to Clyde Frazier here.
Right, I'm channeling my inner Clyde here.
Yes.
But no, you need a little more time to see how this thing plays out.
Can they play a game before we start saying? Can they play their first time this year before we start saying that, the Heat-Knick rivalry is back? I mean, it has the makings of being back, but let's see them play a game first.
But you have to be encouraged. I said the same thing about the Celtics the other night, and after that game, you're saying, hey, the Knicks, really, that was a huge step forward for me because now it looks like they can. I mean, they got to do it. They got a tough schedule here for a couple of weeks. They got to do it, but it looks like they can play with these.
What the Knicks are doing right now, up to this point, is satisfying a hunger that these fans had for them to be good again. So they could start talking about, can there be a Celtics-Knicks rivalry? Can there be a Heat-Knicks rivalry? They're fulfilling that requirement.